Hello. Oh, let's just get organised. There we go. I think that's about right. Right. Now, is anybody there? Oh, hi Tana. Hi Tracy. Oh, you've got a nice view of the side of my neck there. I do apologise. Oh, happy days. Oh, we'll wait for a, let's see if there's a few more. Hi Sarah, hi. So. Happy days. Ooh, actually, let me get something. Hi Terry. Hi Susan. Gosh, I hate this looking at yourself business. Hi from you and Hannah. Hi. Hi. Oh, lovely. Oh, what is the weather doing? It's absolutely barking mad here at the moment. I don't know if it's winter, autumn or summer. But there we are. What are you going to do? Get on with it. Hi, Mian. Oh, lovely. All right, we'll give it a couple of, I don't know, what should we give it? A couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, I don't know. We'll just give it a little bit longer, and then we'll crack on. That's very polite, Tracy Elson. Very polite indeed. Yeah, it's doing the same here. It's very unpleasant, but it's really muggy and humid. So, and then sometimes it goes freezing cold, and sometimes it's hot. It's just all over the shop. Don't really know what's going on with it at the moment. But there we are. We wouldn't be happy with it, whatever it was doing, would we? So there we go. Right, I'm going to crack on then and get started, because we are, what are we at? We're at about, yeah, 8:05, so that's not bad, is it? I'm going to probably turn the camera down now so you can see everything, because I haven't got anything to show you now, because I've sent all my samples off to Chanda. I know, Tana, this an absolute nightmare, isn't it? You don't know what you're putting on from 1 minute to the next. It's driving me up the wall. But there we are. Hi Tracy. Hi. Right, I'm going to tip you down, and we'll have a look at stuff. Right, I'm just waiting to make sure that I've got you at a decent angle. Bear with me. Oh, that's lovely. Now, is that light too glary? if somebody can let me know if that light's a little bit too glary. That's if I turn it off. I don't know if that's any better because I've got to wait till it comes up on the screen. I think that might be better. Yeah, I can see it now. Do you prefer that? Or would you prefer it with the light? Right, I'm taking it that you prefer that. If there's a problem, just let me know, and I can turn my light back on. Right, so my live tonight, I'm going to use some of the lovely Just Lou products. They're really nice, and I'm going to do something very similar to the photograph that I've had up. Hi Anne. So hi Marcia. So this is a stencil set I'm going to use, which, oh gosh, they are so nice, and it's worth pointing out that the packaging is so nice as well. It's really good to shop up. I've been chopping up some. I keep a lot of packaging because I need it for the names of things and stuff. But you know, there is some that I've been chopping up because it's just so fab. You've got these little ruler bits on here, and the backing. Look at that. I mean, that's just really pretty, really pretty, and really good to chop up. So anyway, that's the stencils we're going to use, which are lovely. And I'm going to use this stamp. I keep all of my anything that will fit in an A5 Polly Pocket. I keep it in an A5 Polly Pocket. Hi Claire, because I can. Hi Susie. It's like I'm shouting out all the time. I'm going to stop saying hello to people because it's a bit odd, isn't it, when I'm in the middle of chatting. I've put them in my storage boxes then, and they're easy to flick through, so that's why I keep them all in A5 Polly Pockets. So this is a stamp I'm going to use tonight. It's one of 4, and they are all absolutely gorgeous, and they all work together and individually. They're you know, it's a really good size stamp. They're lovely. They are really lovely designs. Our Lou has outdone herself this time. But I'll put that one out of the way for now. And I'm going to be using a sentiment from this. Now this is absolutely brilliant because it's almost like you get a 2-for-1 with this. These are little chipboard elements. And I noticed this today, that the back paper again is nice. It's a nice design that you can chop up, but the sentiments are on the back, and you can cut most of them out again. So while they're not chipboard, they're still very usable. So you almost get a you know, 2 for the price of 1 there, which is rather fabulous. And I also cut the little ruler element off the top of the packaging as well, because there's plenty that can be done with that too. So that's that. The other thing I'm going to use is some bitsy bobsies from this die cuts. Is that what they call it? What do they call it? Yes, die cut sheets. Little booklet of all sorts of fabulousness. So I'll be using that as well. So I shall crack on. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare my background surface. And to do that, because I'm using distress crayons, whenever I use distress crayons in this way, I always, and you might have seen me do this before because I do use distress crayons frequently, but I use gesso on the surface before I use my crayons, because it just means that you get more movement from them and they come away when you want them to, which is where I'm at. I'm just going to use another little squirt. There we go. I'm nearly at the end of that one. There we go. So, little layer of gesso there. There we go. I'm just going to give that a quick blast to dry it. Hopefully that's not too noisy for you. There we go. Let's get that dry. We're nearly there. Oh, I'm blinding you with the above lights as well. I'm going to have to sort out some sort of sensible lighting. Right, that's feeling very dry. So my hands are disgusting. I've been up to all sorts of gessos and waxes and things, and it's, you know, I do wash, I do bath, but it's the devil to get out of your nails. Alright, so I've got some distress crayons, and I am going to pick a few for my background. I'm thinking I'm going to go quite dark, I think, oh, shall I go pastel-y? Decisions. I do have distress crayon issues, it's true. I really like them. I can't decide whether to go pastel-y or do you know, I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. And yeah, there's no stopping me now. Right, so I wouldn't normally use these colours, but I thought it'd be nice to try something different. So why not? So again, I use the kind of rule of 3 loosely. If there ends up being gaps, then I'll go back and fill it with whatever, but loosely I try and stick to the rule of 3. So I put my distress crayons over my gessoed surface. I think Tracy Elson has seen me do this too many times probably. I'm sorry, Tracy. I just can't help myself. So there we go. And then I'm going to keep whatever colours I use now, I'm going to keep out because I'm going to use those for the features then on the rest of the card in a different way. And I think that's quite a nice way then of keeping your colour theme through whatever piece you're doing. And again, you know, I mean, I do a lot of my samples and pieces as oh, excuse that noise. I do a lot of samples and pieces as cards, but they could just as easily be journal pieces. But because a lot of the things that I do are for samples, it's easy for them to be stood up and things if they're in card form, whereas a journal page would be a little bit more difficult to stand up for the sets. So that's why I tend to do cards more, but yeah, they could, everything I do would translate to a journal page quite easily. There we go. Getting them slowly, nearly done. And the piece of card I've got here is it's Pink Frog Smooth, just the smooth cardstock I'm using tonight. I'm just gonna fill in some gaps and fill in some gaps. Alright, so there you go. You can see it doesn't look very pretty at the moment at all. No, it's just a load of old smushed crayons. So what I do then is I take my stencil and I lay it on the top. I'm going to have to come down a little bit there because I've got a little bit of an edge. And then I use, I'm currently using, these are biodegradable wet wipes. I have a baby that lives with me, my granddaughter lives with me, so it's not an issue for me to get hold of these quite easily because her mum is very eco-friendly. So yes, it's brilliant stuff, isn't it, Terry? But their watercolour cards are really good as well. I mean, this for the prices, it's just excellent. Right, so what I've done there, well, the reason I was doing that is because it was quite wet and I didn't want it too wet. So I've just sort of scribbled it about a bit to get some of the moisture out of it. And then if you're concerned about moving the stencil around, tape it down. But I'm not bothered. I'm not opposed to living on the edge with my stencils. So there we go. You can see it's picking up the colour, and it's doing that because we gessoed. So it makes it much easier to do this. If we hadn't gessoed, the colour would have you know, got absorbed into the cardstock. So here we go. Just taking some more off. And of course, it's something you can take your time with. I'm just conscious of not wanting to keep you hanging on waiting too long. Just do that little top edge. So it blends in. So there we go. That's the effect that you get from doing that. And I don't know if you can remember the card I had in the picture for the Facebook Live, but they used dark colours. You can use anything. And the nice thing is with this, there are some metallic distress crayons, and when you use those, you get a really nice shimmer all over your work, because when you're rubbing it with the cloth, it transfers all over, so it's nice. Yeah, these are not the sort of colours I would normally go for at all, but I quite like that. Right, I'm gonna have to. There's one thing I've forgotten to bring over to my desk. Would you believe? I won't be a second. Oh, sorry. because I'm doing a lighter colourway, I just wanted to get a lighter distress ink to go around the edge of this. So I'm just going around with this is the new speckled edge. Oh, I like gelatos too. I do like gelatos too, but they're very different. You get a very different different effect with those. Right, so I'm just going around the edge with this speckled egg. There we go, it's quite subtle, but I thought that would be quite nice with the lighter colour tones. So I've done that, and then I'm just gonna there we go, a few little splashes of water, and then there we go. Oh, my computer is saying that it's having trouble. They are really nice. They're lovely masks, yeah. There we go. So you can see I'm just doing that to get that sort of weathered effect there. So there we go, and I'm just going to give that another little blast with the heat gun, because where I've splashed it with the water, there we go. Can you see me still? Because I've gone off my laptop. I'm going to refresh my feed now. Right, so that's all dry. I'm going to just refresh my feed, so I'm hoping that the internet hasn't gone down. Might just be my laptop, or my phone might have kicked in, so might have kicked into you know, using its external data, which is great if that's the case. Right, so that's my background. I'm really happy with that. So the next thing I do is I'll keep those crayons out, because I'm going to be using those to colourize the flowers. Is a stamp. Now I don't know, there'll be lots of you who will, you know, well, I'm sure we'll do this anyway, but for those who are new to crafting, it's a really good idea to, hi Diane, see I've done it again, sorry. It's a really good idea to stamp, you know, when you're in the mood for stamping, stamp and stamp a few, so that you've got them to hand when you want to make projects. So I've stamped this stamp, and I've stamped it on, again I'm using the Pink Frog cardstock, and I've also stamped it on a couple of other things, and it stamps beautifully on, this is a piece of calico, which is really nice, and I thought this would make a really interesting and nice layer as well, because basically what I did with the flower on this piece is I really layer it up and give it quite a bit of dimension. So there's that, there's brown paper, which I think looks really nice as well, and then what I've been using a lot of is book pages, so I've stamped on there too. Now I have saved you the pain of watching me cut out, although I do still have to cut out a book page. So I cut out a few layers, and I've also just cut out the main flowers from the top. I mean, you could use these in all number of ways and projects, but I've just cut out those sections. So anything that looked like a back petal, I cut away and just left myself with those pieces. Now I am going to have to just quickly cut these out. If you have any problems with your hands and dexterity, I can't recommend these scissors enough. They are really, really handy. Now, with some of the projects I've done, I've actually paper pieced with book pages to give the impression of more layers. But with this one, I'm just going to do a full layer. There we go. Bear with me. I was hoping to get this done before I came on live, but I like fussy cutting with these scissors, I've got to say. Before I got these scissors, I did not like fussy cutting, but since and this is the second pair of these scissors I've had over the years, or is it the third? It's second, you know, I love them. And they're brilliant, and they cut through all kinds of things. They're a really good pair of scissors. Alright, there we go. Job done. Phew. Right, so I've got my layers that I can build up. And one of the other things, I mean, you can colour first, or you can shape first. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour first, because what I quite like about colouring first is it does add a little bit of moisture to the paper, which then when you're bending the paper gives a different effect. But equally, if you do it the other way around, if you shape the paper first, you then get some interesting texture for the colour to go on, so you get a slightly different different colourway. So let me think. No, we'll colour first. So I'm going to use those same distress crayons that we used to begin with, and I'm going to just get myself some water. There we go. Got myself some water. I got my watercolour brush. I've got some kitchen roll, and I'm kind of trying to decide the colourways that I want to do on here. I'm going to go for some of this. And you can see I'm just scribbling it on my mat. I'm scribbling the distress crayon on my mat, and then I'm going to just add some water and pick it up. There we go. Just adding the water and picking it up. And then I cleaned and wiped my brush, and I'm coming in from the other way. Just blend it. Now this is super smooth card, it's not watercolor card, so it is going to have, it's not going to have the same effect as watercolor card. It kind of, and you have to be a little bit mindful of not moving the card too much, because otherwise it will pill. Nobody likes pilling card. Well, maybe somebody does, but I don't like it when my card pills. So There we go, just adding a little bit more colour. Yeah, that's the only, with the super smooth, you do have to be just a little bit mindful of that. There we go. And just do a little bit more there. There we go, and I want to do centre a different colour, so I'm going to take that green that we used. There we go. It's very subtle. Very. I've kept it really gentle. I'll just quickly do the same with these. Now, obviously, I'm really not being as careful as I would be if I wasn't conscious of wanting to get the project done. There we go. But the nice thing is when we do the layers underneath, we only need to go around the very edges, because you don't see any more than that really. There we go. And this is the last one. In fact, I might even skip that completely for this one. There we go. There. That's it. Yeah, just a hint of colour. You know, and like I said, you know, you could take your time and do a much nicer job of that. But what I like is that the colours that I'm using for the stamped images will match the background exactly, because they're the same colours. So anyway, there we go, that's that bit done. Then I'm going to take these other layers and I'm just gonna edge them. Just edging again in the same speckled egg that I used around the edge of the main piece. And I'm just gonna just put some here, because we will see this when we layer everything up. And even though it's only a tiny bit, when I've done it before, it does look quite odd if we don't match it up. So there we go, let's match it up. So I've done that one, and I'm going to just very gently go around these ones as well. Just, you know, it's hardly anything, it's just a little touch. But when we put everything together, it will just all really marry well together, because there are hints of each colour in every layer. There we go, and these two, I'm just gonna do like the speckled egg, and it's really nice. And I really like just the plain old distress as well. I've got the oxide, which I like, but I am a fan of the original distress inks. I think they do give really nice effects when you add a bit of water and all the rest of it. They're really nice. Right, job done. Thank you for being so patient. Right, and again, I'm just going to spray a little bit of water on these, just a little smidger, just to activate the distress, because you know it's there and it does have such a lovely effect that you might as well use it. You might as well enjoy it. Right, so that's that done. Then I'm going to get my, there's another thing I've forgotten to bring over. Oh, my shaping mat. That's the good thing, nothing's very far away. Oh, we're going to do some, got to do some stenciling as well, yeah. Right, so I've got my tools now. I don't know if anybody else has seen. Oh, it's a lovely colour, speckled egg, it's so nice. But Diane will be able to tell you probably more than I can, because I can't remember. Mama Makes have got these, not these ones because these are from a different company. These are from iCraft, they were part of a set. But Mama Makes has got a set of 4 of these at the moment on a very special offer. So if you haven't got any of these, I would recommend it. And I'm just, obviously, with a shape like this, it's not the same as doing individual leaves. So I'm just pushing it into a mat just to break some of the paper fibres and give myself a little bit of lift. So that's going to be my bottom layer. Then with the next layer, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and look for some areas where I can cut in, where there's a line going in off the edge. And it's not necessarily going to be a petal shape, like this one isn't necessarily a petal shape, but I'm just going to cut in on that. And there's another piece, another line there I can cut in on. And what will happen is I'll be able to use those to give me a little bit more dimension when I'm putting my layers together. So, you know, just that little bit there will be useful. There we go. Okay, I'm done with that for now. You get the idea. So I've cut a few little bits and bobsies there, and I'm going to do the same as I did before. I'm just pushing in and shaping with this great big ball tool. That's it. There we go. And then I'm going to take these little bits and sort of curl them under a little bit. And what it will do is it will just create a little bit more dimension and a slightly different shape. So, there we go. So I've got that layer. I'm going to slightly offset this one when I stick it on. And then we'll be putting that one on. And then we'll stick these flowers on and it'll all become one piece. So there's not, I'll give that a little go, but there's not really much to do with the book page there. And then we'll do these individual ones. That can go on a smaller one. But yeah, if you haven't got any of these ball tools, definitely check out Mama Makes, because it's an offer that's on for, it's a limited period. I think it ends 1st of August maybe, something like that. I don't know, Diane will know. So that's it. And then again, so it's just shaping these so that when we layer it up, we get lots of interesting dimension. God, I really like the look of those. Right, okay, so that's done. And the thing I forgot to do with this, so I was a little bit flustered because I was running a little bit late and all over the shop. Right, what I'm going to do next is use a little bit of cream paste on this background, just because one, it'll add a bit of interest, it'll add a bit of lightness, and it'll add a bit of texture. So there's a few things it will do. This one's a Stamperia cream paste. I really like this for this sort of thing. I really like this one. It's very gentle, and what I tend to do when I'm doing this to add a little bit of interest is I'll pick just a couple of areas. I moved my stencil then, I hope I haven't bodged this. Let's have a look. No, we're okay. So I'll pick a couple of sort of areas of interest. There we go. I'll pop that to one side to clean in a bit. So you can see that adds a little bit more interest and texture again there. So I'm just going to have to dry that with the heat gun again quickly. And that's this, both those stencils are in the same set, so and they work really, really well together. In fact, all of the stencil sets are in duos, and they all work really well together, as well as, you know, they work well with each other, they work well individually, but they've been very cleverly coupled up in the sets. And this is one of the other things I really like about this paste, is it dries ridiculously quickly. So there we go. Happy days. That's it. I am speed crafting, Joe, I tell you, I am super speed crafting. I guess it's not my style. I'm normally much slower, but you know, what are you going to do? It's got to be done. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So. Right, I think happy days. God, I'm sorry, I do say that way too much. Right, so I've got my background, I've got my my focal point flowers there. The next thing I want to do is I'm just going to rip a bit of brown bag. I'm not sure where this one's from. But I'm going to rip a bit of brown bag because I quite like that. So Well, I don't need to worry about this space because it's going to be covered, so that's quite handy. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this. This is cotton net from Stamperia, and it comes on a big roll and it just goes on forever, and it's really handy. I got this one from I think I got it from eBay actually, so but it goes on forever and it adds a bit of interest. But I mean, I'm just using it because I wanted a fabric texture, and you could use whatever texture you want. You know, it's just about building up a few layers, giving a little bit of interest, a little bit of texture. And the thing I like about this then is we can pull the edges out. There we go. And so I've got that there. And I still want to see my brown paper, so I'll put that a bit like that. And then I think a bit of string will be in order. A bit of twine. So all I'm doing is just looking to see how it looks. It's a little bit of pretend leather. The leather sheets from Studio Light. Any little offcuts and things, you can, you know, put them in the guillotine and cut yourself little threads of it, which is quite nice. Oh no, that's quite nice. Twist it up like that. Right, let's stick that down. Okay. So I'm just going to stick this. I'll stick this and be a little bit quick sticks because I want to come back and put a paper clip in here. So let's do that, and then we'll take those little bits there because that's quite nice like that. There we go. Yeah, I cut it into little tiny strips, Marcia, like really thin thong type, like not pants thongs, obviously, although, you know, who knows. And it's quite an interesting little thing. And then what I've got is I've got some, oh, lovely Chris Fraser, got some big paper clips that she aged and did, and they're rather nice, so I'm going to stick that on that end there because I think that's rather nice. Right, so that's done, that's done. Then I want to pick a few little bits out from here. Now with these sticky fingers, these die cuts, both the paper pads and the chipboards, what you might find is sometimes there's little pips on them, and it's just, you know, it's what keeps them in the page, which is a good thing because otherwise it'll go everywhere. But it's worth having a little sanding block just to get rid of the little pip bits if you don't like them. So I'm going to put that under there like that because I quite like that, and then there's a nice little, I've used a few of these hangs. Yeah, so you can see it's the little pips that keep it in place, which is great because that's what you want. But then sometimes you don't want it when you're putting it onto a project. So a little sanding block just gets, you know, seconds and you've got rid of that. So, which is exactly what you want. So there we go. And we'll pop that one just there. And the word I want is love. So let's do that one. And I'm going to stick that there. Right, and then I'm going to layer my flower up, or flowers up. So I've got my first layer. Now what I might do actually is I might use a bit of, I've got a bit of silicone here. I might use that, it'll just be quicker. So I'm putting my first layer down. I'm not thinking too much about it because I'm going to offset. Now this is the one where I cut the little pieces to give me a little bit more movement, and I'm going to offset this one again, and then I've got my paper layer. There we go, and then I'm going to put my flowers back where they were. So you do have to just have a little, take a little moment to have a little look. I can't think where that goes, but that one's not too bad. It's this one that's got, because the leaves are cut out, you want to make sure it goes back where it came from ish. You know, I think it's nice when it's off a little bit because it again gives the illusion of another layer. And there we go. And there we are. That's basically it. So I've used the distress crayons with a wet wipe and a stencil, just so the background, smudged my distress crayons over and then removed them with a wet wipe. I've used the stencil with the texture paste, and that's my background. I've created some texture and layers with some brown paper and some gauze fabric and faux leather and string, and used one of the chipboard die cuts and a paper clip. And then here we've just cut, you know, just various layers with flowers and layered them up and used the same distress crayons on them so that they're matching. So once that's all layered up now on a piece of black card, that will really bring it all to life. So there we go. I think that's about it. So, oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I hope you liked it, but honestly, Lou's collection's absolutely gorgeous, and I know all the design team have just had the best time with it. We've all thoroughly enjoyed making our samples, and really look forward to seeing what everybody else thinks of it on Wednesday, if it doesn't sell out in 5 minutes, because I've got a feeling it's gonna go quickly because it's really beautiful. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully I'll be back next week, if they still let me out. So, and see you next week, and we'll see what we come up with for next week. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.